से हजारों स्टूडेंट्स हर साल हिस्ट्री ऑप्शन लेते हैं, but then there are only some they are managing to score very good, and that's how they are coming into the final list. On the other hand, rest of the people, what are they doing? They keep on collecting the information. Okay. And since I have realized that people are facing this problem, and that's why we have decided to come up with this solution at Sarrthi IAS, and we have launched a specific website for history optional. That website, which is historyoptional.co.in. And I must say one thing, this is not merely a website, rather this is a complete ecosystem for history optional. Now you don't need to run from place to place in order to find these information, right? I've been talking about Anuj only, who scored highest in history optional so far. That's 316 marks in history. So you can see their copies, right? So once you see their copies, so somehow you can make a comparison. UPSC exam is not only about knowledge. Rather, I believe that knowledge must be transformed into content, and content should be transformed into what? Into answers. Because at the end, what matters is the answer. What sort of answer you write, ultimately you'll be rewarded on that. And that's how, what sort of conceptual clarity you do have, what information you have. At the end, it does not matter, right? What matters that what answer you have written, what content that you have produced in the copy, ultimately you'll be rewarded on the basis of that. And I believe that there is an hurdle, right? When it comes to the content, somehow finding the right content is a real problem. So am I saying that the content is not available, for UPSC or specifically for that optional, what we have been discussing? Not really. There's huge amount of content is available in the market, and they are there in different forms. Then what are the problems? There are certain problems. The problem number one, when you talk about the most reliable source of information, there are undoubtedly books. But then when it comes to the books, what are the problems with the books? The books are never being designed in order to cater the requirement for the UPSC examination. The books are mostly for the mostly academic in nature. The authors have been writing these books in order to cater the academic requirement rather than the UPSC requirement. And that's how, while reading the books, aspirants need to be very careful that what relevant content they should take, what they should leave. It's very important. And sometimes students are getting misguided. When it comes to another form, that is notes, undoubtedly various types of notes are available in the market, but then they are also having some problems. When it comes to notes, I believe either some they are too bulky. They are so much bulky that there was no need of reading this much material. Because if you have been reading 10,000 pages for history optional, undoubtedly that is worthless. Or else these are too short. So in both the cases, the problems are there. If they are too short, that's problematic. If they are too bulky, that's problematic. And the third thing I believe, that whenever it comes to the notes which are there, somehow I don't find them in a very integrated manner. Let's say if you talk about though it is correct for most of the subjects, but specifically for history optional, I believe concept, content, and then historiography, these are the three things which are basic components of any answer, but then you do not find them in integrated manner. And that's why people's aspirants keep on running from place to place in order to collect them, find them, right? And that's how they just waste their time in doing so. आई थिंक यही वजह है कि जिसकी वजह से हजारों स्टूडेंट्स हर साल हिस्ट्री ऑप्शन लेते हैं, बट देन देयर ओनली सम दे आर मैनेजिंग टू स्कोर वेरी गुड, एंड दैट्स हाउ दे आर कमिंग इनटू द फाइनल लिस्ट. ऑन द अदर हैंड रेस्ट ऑफ द पीपल, व्हाट आर दे डूइंग? दे कीप ऑन कलेक्टिंग द इन्फॉर्मेशन. ठीक है, वो इन्फॉर्मेशन कलेक्ट कर रहे हैं, अलग अलग सोर्सेज से कर रहे हैं. और इनफैक्ट जब आप तैयारी करते हैं उस समय एक बेसिक प्रॉब्लम ये होती है कि आपको लगता है कि जितनी बेहतर इन्फॉर्मेशन होगी, जितनी ज्यादा इन्फॉर्मेशन होगी, समहाउ योर परफॉर्मेंस वुड बी बेटर. आई थिंक दिस इज दिस इज एन इनकरेक्ट नोशन. Your content should be sufficient, and then should be integrated. So these people waste this much time in collecting content, right? That ultimately they are not able to somehow recall it properly, and then finally they fail in producing that in their answer script. That is the problem. So since we have realized these problems, and that's why we have decided to come up with a solution. So as you all know that I'm Piyush Kumar, and I have been mentoring, teaching the history optional students for last 13 years. And under my mentorship, there were so many students got selected. And in fact, so far the highest scorer, 316 marks in history optional, Iswar Kandu, was also being mentored by me. So since I'm having a very long experience of subject, since I come from the academic background, and that's why I can understand that what is the core requirement of the content in the UPSC. And since I have realized that people are facing this problem, and that's why we have decided to come up with this solution at Sarrthi IAS, and we have launched a specific website for history optional. That website, which is historyoptional.co.in, HISTORY optional.co.in. This is the website, which is the dedicated website for history options. And I must say one thing, this is not merely a website, rather this is a complete ecosystem for history optional. Now you don't need to run from place to place in order to find these information, right? So what are the core features of this website? Let's see it. So if we'll see the core features, first of all, the syllabus is there. So as when it comes to the syllabus, you can find that it is not only the syllabus being provided, right? Rather, I can say that this is the official syllabus which has been given to you. And then apart from that, the topic wise syllabus breakdown is being given to you, right? Topic wise syllabus breakdown. Now, what is this meaning of topic wise syllabus breakdown? Now, when it comes to, when you compare history optional with the other optional, you can find one thing. In other optionals, you need to decode the syllabus, right? In history optional, you don't need to decode the syllabus because syllabus has already been given in a very decoded manner. But then here, challenges different. And what is this challenge? Here you need to basically identify that what are the topics which are the most important, which are moderately important, and which are least important or not important at all. So basically here you find the decoded syllabus, but in decoded syllabus, I just have given a proper analysis that what thing what you should do, and in fact if some more decoding is needed, I have done that. So in this particular part you can find that you have been provided a very decoded syllabus. So I think this can become a sort of a Gita for you. You can always keep it in front of you while preparing for history optional. So that is how it would be quite helpful. Apart from that, there's another feature, and that is what this is the previous year question papers. Now in this previous year question paper, we have provided you the 10 years the PYQs. It has been provided paper wise. So paper 1 and paper 2 separately it's being provided to you, and in fact you'll find a sort of analysis as well of the paper, because papers are not merely papers, right? Sometimes you need to think that why is this question being asked, in what interval this question is being asked, is there any logic because of what this question is being asked. So that's how you can find that paper for last 10 years have been provided to you, and I think that would be quite helpful for you in order to regulate. And then it comes to the next important feature, and that's about the toppers copies. Now, what's the significance of the toppers copy, right? So such as Anuj is there, Iswar is there. I've been talking about Anuj only, who scored highest in history optional so far. That's 316 marks in history. So you can see their copies, right? So once you see their copies, so somehow you can make a comparison that the answers that you have been writing, what is the standard of these answers, whether they're up to the mark as per them or not, right? So that's how this comparison is very needed, very much needed. And in fact, very soon we are going to upload few more scripts, right? Those who have scored very good. So that's how we'll keep on uploading, and in fact we'll prefer to get you a sort of best copies that you can really make this comparison. And then finally it comes to mains mock papers. So in mains mock paper, what we're going to do, basically the test that we have been providing, we are going to provide them here. And in fact, my tests are never built in such a way that these are that's the repetition of the questions. Rather, I try to create always the new questions. So for your testing, you can come to this part, you can see the model hint, you can find the model hint also, and that's how you can keep on testing yourself. So we'll keep on uploading these stuff. Well, apart from this, we'll be also providing you the material in a very crisp manner, which is exactly catching your requirement. So very soon this feature would be also added here. We'll keep on providing the important information. Specifically, my target would be that wherever you find or you struggle for the material, at least in those areas, I'll provide you the material. And at the end, I'll say you one thing. When it comes to this website, very soon I'll be coming up with another feature, and that is pertaining to one of the most important and problematic area for the aspirants. That's the map area, right? So for the map area, very soon I'll disclose something, but for that I'll make a separate video, and I'll tell you that what feature is there, that would be there in this website only. And then finally I'll say that this website is basically would be the connecting point between me and you, and that's why keep following this particular website, and in fact find every solution resolved here only. Thank you very much.